The silence between Takeshi's sun hung gently over the studio lot. Warm, but not harsh, casting long shadows across the quiet corners of a set that hadn't yet found its rhythm. The new sci-fi drama was meant to be a landmark production. A massive budget, a bold script, top-tier actors. But today, something was off. The energy was slow, almost hesitant. Like the air didn't know how to carry itself. Keanu Reeves walked onto the set in silence. Coffee in hand, wearing the same calm look that had made him beloved by crew members everywhere. He greeted the sound technician with a small nod, helped the grip guy lift a crate of lighting cables, then stepped over to his mark on the floor. His presence, humble and unshaken, brought quiet stability. But even he felt the shift in the atmosphere today. Ana de Armas was late. Not her usual late. Like 5 minutes behind schedule because of a wardrobe change or makeup delay. This was different. The kind of late that made the assistant director check his watch 4 times in 2 minutes. The kind of late that made whispers start to circulate, and none of those whispers sounded kind. But Keanu didn't speak. Instead, he looked toward the trailer area, waiting. Listening. 10 minutes turned into 30. Finally, the side door to one of the trailers cracked open. Ana stepped out slowly, wrapped in a thick gray hoodie, despite the warm day. Her head was low, her shoulders hunched, her hands gripped around a water bottle like it was the only thing holding her together. Crew members tried not to stare, but they did. One camera assistant nudged another and muttered something under his breath. Ana heard it. She didn't flinch, but Keanu saw her fingers tighten around the bottle. She wasn't late because she was careless. She was late because something inside her was breaking in. No one seemed to notice except Keanu. Ana reached the set. The director, clearly annoyed, started giving her a lecture in a soft but pointed tone. Keanu took a step back, watching. Her eyes stayed on the floor. She nodded, not saying much. Her face was pale, but she was wearing makeup. So it was harder to see how much of her emotion had been covered. Keanu stepped in without asking. He walked between them and said in a soft voice, "Give us 5." The director looked like he wanted to protest, but he paused when he saw Keanu's face. It wasn't angry, it was calm, but firm. Like a man who knew exactly what mattered and what didn't, the director nodded and stepped away. Keanu turned to Ana, not saying anything for a few seconds. They just stood there. A silence again. Not awkward. Just... safe. Finally, he said, "You want to sit somewhere quiet?" Ana nodded once. They walked off set and around the corner, where a row of chairs sat under the shade of a tree near the catering tent. No one followed. Keanu made sure of that. Ana sat down slowly. Keanu didn't sit right away. He crouched in front of her instead, keeping his voice soft. "Want to tell me what's going on?" he asked. Ana looked up, and for the first time that day, her eyes met someone else's, without fear. She didn't cry. She didn't rant. She just spoke quietly. "I'm tired, Keanu. Not just sleepy, just tired everywhere. I keep showing up and pretending I'm okay, but inside I feel like I'm falling apart. No one seems to see it." Keanu listened without interrupting. "I wake up with anxiety so bad that it feels like I've already failed before I even get to work. I smile and say lines and wave at people, but inside I feel hollow. I keep asking myself, what if I mess up? What if people think I'm not good enough? And today, I just couldn't hide it anymore." He didn't say, "You'll be fine." He didn't say, "Don't worry." Instead, Keanu said the one thing she hadn't heard from anyone yet. "I see it." Ana blinked. "What? I see?" "It," he said again. "I see how hard you're trying. And I also see you're struggling. And you don't have to pretend with me." That was the moment the wall began to crack. Not all at once. It's just a small piece of her mask slipping away. She leaned forward, elbows on knees, holding her forehead in her hands. "I can't tell the director I need a break," she whispered. "They'll say I'm unprofessional." Keanu sat beside her now, not too close, just close enough to share. "The wait, then I will," he said. Ana turned to him, eyes wide with disbelief. "You'd do that?" I'm not asking permission, he said. I'm telling you, you matter more than a schedule. And if they can't see that, then maybe they shouldn't be directing people at all. For the first time in days, maybe, weeks, Anna smiled. It was small, but it was real. Keanu stood up, helped her up, and walked back toward the main set. But before reaching the director, he stopped and said to the production manager, "We're not shooting today. Anna needs time." The man looked stunned. We have deadlines, Keanu. I can't just then tell them to talk to me." That was it. No shouting, no anger, just quiet authority. Anna stood behind him, unsure whether to cry again or laugh in disbelief. The crew whispered again, but this time, it wasn't cruel. This time they said, ... "Did you see what Keanu just did? He delayed the whole shoot for her. He didn't even ask. He just did it. And that guy's different. And he was ... Keanu didn't do it for applause. He did it because when someone you care about is hurting, you don't keep rolling the camera. You press pause, and you listen." The weight no one saw it the next morning. The studio lot looked different. The lights were still strung across metal scaffolds. The trailers still buzzed with quiet activity. The camera crew still adjusted lenses, checked angles, and tested sound levels. But something had shifted, not in the work, but in the people. Ana de Armas sat alone on a bench near the catering tent, a mug of tea warming her hands. Wasn't hiding this time. Her hoodie was gone, replaced with a loose shirt and simple jeans. Her face was burno makeup, no false smile, just her. And still, no one came to poke or question. Maybe because they'd heard what Keanu did the day before? Or maybe, finally, they'd seen her as more than a perfect image on a screen. Then came the soft sound of approaching footsteps. Anna looked up and saw Keanu walking toward her, slow and calm, holding a paper bag. "I brought muffins," he said, sitting down beside her like he always had, like nothing was strange or heavy. Anna gave him a tired smile. "Blueberry." "Banana walnut," he replied. "They were out of blueberry, but I figured these still taste like peace." She took one and broke it in half, handing him the larger piece. "Thanks." For yesterday, he didn't respond right away. He took a bite and nodded slowly, savoring it before he said anything. "How are you today?" he asked. Anna hesitated. Then, with a quiet sigh, she said, "Better. Not great, but better." "That's enough," Keanu said gently. "Better as always." Enough. There was silence again, but this one was light, almost comfortable. A kind of peace that didn't need filling. But inside Anna's mind, "The war hadn't ended, you know," she said after a while. "When you stopped the shoot yesterday, I was sure I'd be fired. I kept waiting for a call from the producers, or an email, or even just a cold stare from the director." Keanu turned to her, eyes soft but focused. "Did any of that happen?" "No," she said quietly. "Not yet." "Then maybe it won't," he replied. "And even if it does, there are worse things than being fired. One of them is losing yourself just to keep a job." Anna looked at him, something in her chest tightening. "How do you stay so calm?" Keanu leaned back against the bench and looked up at the sky. "I wasn't always calm. I just learned what matters, what doesn't." Anna frowned gently. "And what matters to you?" He didn't rush his answer. When it finally came, it was quiet but sure. "People," he said. "People matter more than cameras, more than scenes, more than deadlines. And if we don't protect each other in this industry, ... who will?" A tear slid down Anna's cheek before she could stop it. She turned away to hide it, but Keanu reached into his coat pocket and handed her a tissue. Not a word spoken. After a moment, she laughed softly. "You carry tissues?" "Always," he said. "Life's messy." They sat for a while longer before a production assistant approached, careful and polite. "Keanu." The director asked if you two are ready to talk. "No pressure, just when you're ready." Keanu looked at Anna. He didn't answer the assistant. He waited for her to speak. Anna nodded slowly. "I'm ready to talk." Inside the small meeting room near the editing suite, the director waited. With folded hands and tired eyes, he stood up when they walked in, not out of formality, but something more like apology. "Anna," he began, I want to say I'm sorry. I should have checked on you sooner. Yesterday, Oh. I didn't understand. Anna sat down across from him, Keanu beside her. It's okay, she said. Most people don't. I was focused on the shoot, the budget, the deadlines. When Keanu stood up like that, it made me realize we're not making a machine here. We're making something human. And I forgot that. Keanu said nothing, just listened. The director continued, take whatever time you need. We'll shift the schedule. I've already spoken to the studio. Ina blinked. You have? Yes, he said. They were hesitant, but Keanu talked. To them too. Anna turned to Keanu. You didn't tell me that. Shrugged. I figured you had enough on your mind. Something inside Anna softened. For the first time in weeks, maybe months, she felt safe. Not because the problem was gone, but because someone had chosen to carry it with her. The director smiled awkwardly. Just ... When you're ready, come back to set. No pressure. After the meeting, Anna and Keanu walked through the lot again. The sun had moved higher in the sky. Birds landed on the edges of trailers. Someone from the lighting crew waved at them. This time, the wave wasn't awkward. It was warm. They reached the soundstage and paused at the door. Do you want to go in? Keanu asked. Anna thought for a moment. Then she said, not yet, but I want to stay nearby. So they sat on the edge of the lot, near a quiet corner, with crates and sandbags and forgotten cables. It wasn't pretty, but it was private. Anna turned to Keanu. You know, when I first joined this project, I was so scared to work with you, Keanu asked, surprised. Why? Because you're calm, wise, kind. I thought you'd see right through me. He smiled. And what if I did? Then I thought you'd leave. Keanu shook his head. Not when someone needs a friend. Anna rested her head on her knees, eyes closed. Thank you. He didn't say you're welcome, just stayed. The crew didn't ask questions. The production didn't fall apart. The cameras didn't need to. Roll for something real to happen. Because sometimes, the most important scenes in life don't make it into the movie. They happen behind the lens, between one heart and another. And that day, delay became a lifeline. When silence speaks louder than scenist, studio lights returned the next week, but this time, they didn't feel like spotlights. They felt softer, somehow less like a machine waiting for perfection, and more like a space ready for truth. Anna, de Armas, stood just outside stage 7. She watched through a small crack in the door as the crew adjusted the camera rig. Her fingers played with the ring on her thumb, something she always did when nerves threatened to take over. But this time, the fear wasn't winning. Not completely. Keanu walked up behind her with 2 cups of tea. Green or chamomile? He asked without a greeting. Anna smiled and took the chamomile. You really are a walking care package. I try, he said, taking a sip from his own cup. You thinking about going in? I want to, she said, but my body still acts like it's running from something. Keanu leaned against the wall beside her. That's okay. Courage isn't about not shaking. It's about walking forward anyway. Anna closed her eyes, breathed in the steam rising from the cup, and nodded. Then she opened the door. The sound of light chatter filled the space. Not loud, not chaotic, just steady. A few heads turned when she entered, but no one stared for long. The director gave a respectful nod from across the room. The makeup artist smiled kindly, but didn't approach. Anna took her place on the marked spot and breathed in deeply. The first rehearsal began quietly. No camera, no pressure. It's just her, Keanu, and their lines. The scene was an emotional one. Character, a lost scientist, was supposed to tell Keanu's character that she had failed her mission and possibly doomed the world in doing so. It was heavy, but Anna's voice was steady, even when her hands trembled. When she forgot one line halfway through, she closed her eyes in frustration. Keanu stepped forward gently. Not as an actor, not in character. Take your time, he said softly. Anna opened her eyes. I feel like they're all watching. They're not, he said. They're witnessing. She paused. What's the difference? Watching is waiting for you to mess up, he said. Witnessing is seeing you rise. That changed something. Anna straightened her back, took a breath, and started the scene again. This time, she didn't just say the lines, she lived them. And when she finished, the room was silent. Not because it was awkward, but because it was. Real. Then slowly, the crew clapped, not the loud, forced kind, but just a soft rhythm that came from people who saw something human and couldn't help but respond. Anna turned away quickly, not wanting anyone to see her tears. But Keanu saw. He walked over and gently placed a hand on her shoulder. You did it. She looked up. You showed up, he said. That's more than enough. They broke for lunch after the rehearsal. Anna walked out to the lot, her head high, her steps steady. The assistant director caught up to Keanu. She's incredible today. Was incredible yesterday too, Keanu replied. People just missed it. As the day went on, word spread about how Anna had returned, about how Keanu stood by her through it all, about how something different was happening on this set, something deeper that evening. Anna sat alone at the edge of the lot again. It's the same spot where she and Keanu had talked days ago. This time, she was smiling. Keanu joined her, holding a small plastic container. What's that? Anna asked. Chocolate pudding from catering, he said. It's not fancy, but it reminds me of childhood. Thought you might like it. She laughed. You're officially the best co-star in the history of co-stars, he shrugged. Just showing up. That's the part people forget, she said. Showing up is the real hard part. They sat there in silence, sharing pudding, watching the sun fade behind the trailers. It was quiet, soft, healing. Anna turned to him after a while. Do you think I'll ever stop feeling like this? Keanu took a moment before replying.
Yeah.
Don't know, but maybe the goal isn't to stop feeling. Maybe it's learning to stand with the feeling and not let it own you.
Ow.
And what if it does? She whispered. Then I'll remind you who you are, he said. She didn't respond. She didn't need to, because in that moment, she wasn't alone, and maybe that's what healing looked like. Not loud, it's not sudden, just slow steps in safe company. A week ago, not felt invisible. Today she felt seen, and it made all the difference. The day they tried to rush Harana arrived early that day, earlier than the crew, earlier than the lighting team, even earlier than the man who usually unlocked the trailers. She sat on the steps outside her trailer, watching the morning light spill across the empty lot like a fresh canvas. She wore no makeup, her hair was tied loosely, and she had a script resting on her lap. But she wasn't reading it. Not yet. Her fingers tapped gently on the pages as her thoughts drifted. This is the first day of full shooting since her return. Not a rehearsal, not a soft trial. The camera would roll, the pressure would return, and the world would be watching eventually. Yet something inside her had changed. The fear hadn't vanished, but it no longer held the same power. Keanu showed up not long after. He spotted her immediately and gave her a nod as he walked past, sipping his tea. He didn't stop. He didn't hover. He knew she needed space and trusted her to take it. But the rest of the world wasn't as patient. By 10 a.m., the lot was buzzing with noise. People rushing, phones ringing, someone yelling about costume fittings, someone else complaining about delays. Anna had finished makeup and was now on set, pacing through her lines. We need to move faster, one of the producers muttered behind the monitors. We lost 3 days already. If we don't catch up, the whole post-production schedule will fall apart. The director nodded, clearly torn. Anna's doing better now. She can handle it. The assistant director chimed in. Then let's push the double scene today. 2 angles in one go. She's got it. Anna heard all of it, and her chest tightened again. Not because they were wrong. She probably could handle it, but because she wasn't being asked. She was being expected. The pressure started to return like a weight pressing against her ribs. She took her place on set. Cameras rolled. The lights beamed. The clapperboard snapped. Anna said the first lines with steady breath. Her co-star entered. The dialogue built. Her character was supposed to cry then rise. Crumble then speak truth, and for a few seconds, it worked. Until it did, her voice cracked on a line. Her eyes lost focus. She stumbled backward a step, her fingers twitching. "Cut," the director called. A few people sighed. One crew member reset the camera. Anna stood frozen. The assistant director rushed in. "You're doing great. You just need a cleaner take. Okay? Let's roll again." Keanu stepped forward. "Hold on." The room paused. The assistant director frowned. "We're on the clock, Keanu. She's a person," Keanu said quietly. Anna looked at him, not surprised, just grateful. Keanu turned to her. "You okay?" She nodded slowly. "I just need a minute." The assistant director groaned under his breath and walked off. Keanu helped her off the mark and walked her toward the side of the set. "You don't have to prove anything," he said. "But they think I do," she replied. "Then let them," he said. "Let them think whatever they want. You owe them nothing." She sat down on a nearby crate, her head in her hands. "It's like every time I take one step forward, someone pushes a stopwatch in my face," she whispered. Keanu crouched in front of her. "You're not a clock. You're a story. And stories need space." Anna looked up. "But they need me to perform." "No," Keanu said. "They need you to be real. The rest is noise." After a few deep breaths, Anna stood again. She walked back onto the set. Slower this time, more grounded. "I'll do one more take," she said calmly. "But no double angles. One focus. Then I rest." The assistant director raised an eyebrow. That's the deal," Keanu cut in, his voice still calm but sharper now. "Or we pause the shoot again. Your call." The room froze. Then the director nodded. One angle, one take. Anna stepped onto her mark. The clapperboard snapped again. Action. And this time, the scene wasn't just performed. It lived. When the director called cut, no one moved for a second then. Slow applause. Respectful. Quiet. Anna stepped down from the mark and walked straight to Keanu. "Thank you," she said. "You did that," he replied. "Not me. But you made the space for me to do it." He nodded. That's what friends do. By the end of the day, the studio buzz had changed. Producers were still calculating, schedules still tight. But a new rumor had started to spread, not about delays, not about breakdowns, but about a woman who faced her own storm and refused to rush her healing, and the man who stood beside her not as a savior, but as someone who knew the power of patience. The whisper behind the curtained sky over the studio turned dark earlier than usual that day. Clouds gathered slowly, wrapping the city in a heavy silence. The kind that made people talk softer, move slower, notice things they usually missed. Inside, Stage 7, the production lights burned bright. The cast and crew were halfway through one of the most emotional sequences in the film. Anna's character was confronting her past. Keanu's character was supposed to listen, quietly, steadily, like a mountain that refused to move. They had rehearsed it. They had blocked the scene. Every line, every movement had been carefully planned. But nothing could plan for what happened. That afternoon, Anna stood in the center of the room, delivering her lines with trembling hands and raw eyes. She didn't fake the emotion, she lived it. The pain in her voice wasn't acting. It was memory. It was real. And then someone laughed, not loud, not long, but enough a snort from behind one of the light rigs. It was careless, maybe unintentional. But it cracked through the room like thunder. Anna froze mid-sentence. The silence that followed was brutal. It was the kind that didn't need words to feel cruel. She didn't cry, not immediately. She just stepped back once, then twice, and walked off. The set, no one said a word. Keanu was the first to move. He didn't ask. The director? He didn't wait for permission. He just followed her, calmly, quietly, like a shadow that refused to let her walk alone. He found her outside, near the back wall of the studio, sitting on the concrete with her head in her arms. Sat down beside her, not saying anything at first. Then softly, "You okay?" She whispered, "I was doing so well." Keanu leaned back, resting his head against the wall. "You still are." He laughed. "One person, not everyone." "But everyone heard," she said, voice cracking. "And no one stopped it. Keanu didn't rush to comfort her. He let the words settle. Then he asked, "Do you want to go back in?" "I don't know," she said. "I feel like I don't belong. Like I'm this fragile thing everyone's waiting to break again." "You're not fragile," he said. "You're healing. And that's not weakness. That's strength most people will never understand." Anna looked at him, her eyes wet but clear. "I wish more people saw it that way." "Then let's teach them," Keanu said. Inside, the mood had shifted. People whispered. Some were nervous. Few were ashamed. The director gathered the crew. His voice was low, but firm. "We don't know who made that sound. This is your reminder. This is a space for respect. If you can't handle that, you shouldn't be here." He didn't name names. But everyone heard the warning. When Keanu and Anna returned, the room was silent. Not out of tension this time, but reflection. Anna stood beside the camera and took a breath. Then she said quietly, "I want to try again." And she did. This time, the scene hit deeper than before. Every word landed like truth. Every pause felt earned. Keanu's stillness was powerful. Kana's fire was undeniable. When the director called cut, no one clapped. They just stood in quiet awe, and for the first time in her career, Rana didn't wonder if she was good enough. She knew. Later, that evening, as the crew packed up, Keanu walked her to her trailer. "You don't need anyone's approval," he said. "Not even mine." Anna smiled. "I know. But I'm glad you're here anyway." He looked at her for a moment and said something he hadn't said the entire shoot. "You remind me of someone I once knew. Someone who walked through fire and came out softer, not harder." "Who was it?" she asked. "Someone who taught me that kindness isn't just about how you treat others. It's how you treat yourself when the world forgets to." Anna didn't reply. She didn't need to. The storm outside finally broke. Rain began to fall. Soft at first, then heavier. Anna stepped back from the trailer door and looked up at the sky. "It's raining." "Let it," Keanu replied. "Let it," Keanu replied. And for a few minutes, they stood there in silence, two souls under a dark sky, not afraid of getting wet, because sometimes the rain doesn't mean sorrow. Sometimes it means renewal. The day she didn't need saving, final shoot day, arrived quietly. There was no ceremony, no dramatic call to action, just calm energy, steady movement, and a kind of stillness that meant something real was about to happen. Stage 7 was dressed. Like the last scene in the film, a ruined observatory, battered by wind and war, the sky above it painted with a dying sun. Anna stood just beyond the set, already in costume, hair wild, face raw. She held the final pages of the script in her hand, but she wasn't reading anymore. She knew every word. And more importantly, she knew what those words meant. Keanu stood a few feet away, sipping his tea like always. He didn't ask her if she was ready. He didn't need to. She'd walked a long road to get here. Every step had shaped her into someone new. This wasn't the same woman who had hidden in her trailer. This was someone who had cried without shame. Someone who had stood when it would have been easier to disappear. Someone who had felt the edge of breaking and kept going. "Let's finish it," Anna said. The cameras rolled. The crew held their breath. The scene began with silence. Anna walked through the shattered remains of the observatory. Her character grieving the loss of everything: her mission, her friends, her past. She knelt beside a broken piece of machinery, touching it like it was a piece of someone she once loved. Keanu's character entered, quiet and steady. No music, no speech, just presence. Anna turned to him, her voice low. "I failed." Keanu didn't speak. He just walked to her side. "I don't know how to fix any of it," she continued. "But maybe it's not about fixing anymore. Maybe it's just about standing in the ruins, ... and choosing to stay." She looked up, eyes full, voice steady. "Can you stay with me?" Keanu nodded slowly, and for a long moment nothing happened. And then he sat beside her. No hug, no dramatic touch, just two people sitting in brokenness together, and that ... was the ending. The director whispered cut, but no one moved. A few crew members wiped their eyes. Anna stood slowly, breath shaking but her body calm. Keanu walked over and hugged her, this time not in character, not for the cameras, but as himself. You did it, he whispered. Anna looked around the room. We did it. The studio wrapped early that day. The team had what they needed. No reshoots, no re-records. The scene was honest, and that was enough. Outside the studio, the sun returned. The storm was gone. The air smelled clean. Anna stood. By the lot entrance, as the crew packed equipment into vans and said quiet goodbyes, the director walked up to her. I want you to know, I learned something from you. Anna smiled gently. What's that? That slowing down isn't a weakness. It's wisdom. She nodded. Thank you for giving me space to learn that too. Keanu joined her a moment later. Held no tea this time. Just calm energy and a slight smile. You ready to go? I asked. Anna looked at the studio gates, then back at him, not just yet. They walked together down the sidewalk, far from the lights and cameras. Just two friends, two humans, who had been through something not many people would ever understand. Anna stopped near a tree, under a soft patch of afternoon sunlight. Do you think people will see the difference? She asked. What difference between who I was and who I became? Keanu didn't answer right away then. He said, they might not notice, but they'll feel it. Anna smiled. Not the small, tired kind, but the real kind, the one that comes when you've earned your peace. It's funny, she said. Thought I needed someone to save me. You didn't, Keanu said. You just needed someone to stand with you while you saved yourself. She looked at him. Thank you for standing. Anytime, he said. They parted ways at the edge of the street. No grand farewell. No final line. Just a quiet moment between two people who understood that real strength isn't always loud. It's in the silence. It's in the choice to stay, in somewhere deep inside. Anna knew she wasn't just an actress anymore. She was a survivor, a creator, a woman who could bend without breaking, and in the hearts of everyone who watched her performance later, there would be something more than admiration. There would be understanding, and maybe even healing. Because one woman's courage backed by one man's quiet kindness had delayed a film, but reminded everyone that no story is worth more than the person living it.